Hello everyone, myself Anand Kumar HN. So today I am here with one more topic to discuss about subject application development using Python. In the last session we discussed about how a real world problem can be solved using Python. Even in today's session I am taking you to solve two more problems. I will be discussing the problem, you need to solve those problems. So parallelly I will be solving those problems. So you can take any general problem in any general scenario and you can convert those into a problem. So let us discuss the first problem today. So here a system, your program has to user to enter numbers, either they are integer numbers or floating point numbers. It's keep on asking user to enter number. Once user enters done, word called done, D-O-N-E, assume that it is in the lower case. Only lower case is recognized. Once the user enters done string, the program has to stop and it has to display how many numbers user has entered, what is the total sum of all those numbers, what is the average value of those numbers. So this is the problem statement. Did you get? You need to ask, or your program need to ask user to enter numbers multiple time, means it has to take multiple input continuously. In the background it has to calculate how many numbers the user has entered and what is the sum, what is the average. Once user enters done, then program should close or program should give output, program should stop execution and should give output what is the count value, what is the sum value, what is the average value. Right. Okay, this is a small program. So using a looping statement you can do this. It's a very simple program. So let us solve this problem. First we need to define, or first we need to have a values for count and sum, because we don't know what is the count value, we don't know what is the sum value. For that we need to have two variables. Average, I will take, count value, let us take count value as C is equal to 0. Then I take sum is equal to 0. Initially I am taking two variables, count is 0, sum is 0. So initially they are 0. Next as I said, your program has to repeatedly ask user to enter what? Data. So means just observe here user has to enter number, right? So we know how to take input from the user, that is input function. And as I said, user will enter numbers. As I said, it can be integer or float values. You cannot convert that input information into float directly, because let me write. And before that, user has to enter the data repeatedly. For that, what I will do, I will take a while loop. Inside the while loop I will ask user to enter data repeatedly. For that I will take an infinite while loop. For that you write a while loop, while of true and colon. So you have while of true, while of 0, sum is equal, C is equal to 0, count is 0, sum is 0, while of true, it's an infinite loop. Then you need to take input. For that I am writing input function, and I will ask user to enter a number. So what I am telling is, don't convert this entered value directly into float value. Why? Because so we have only one input function where user will enter all type of numbers. That's one thing. Second thing, user will also enter a word called done. Done. Once user enters done, the program should close or program should stop execution. For that, you should take this function as just an input. Don't convert this data into float value. Okay. User will be entering some numbers or he will be entering a word called done. Correct. So once the numbers are entered or whether the done is entered, we need to check whether user has entered a number or done. Correct? Correct. For that, what I will do, I will write if condition if number is equal to done. Is it correct? So here input function will accept everything as a string. Right? Let us say user has entered initially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finally done. He has entered finally done. What your program should do, it should accept number, a number, a number, a number, a number, finally done. Once number is equal to done, number is equal to done, correct? Whatever number we have entered or user has entered is done. That string matching will happen. Once the string matching is done, you need to display what? You need to display count value, sum value, average value. For that, write print statement, print count is equal to, you can write count is equal to a variable name, just C, print sum is equal to a sum variable, print average is equal to, so we don't have average variable. How to find average? It's very simple, sum divided by count. Just say sum divided by count. So these are the three things you get if user has entered done. Correct. For example, the first time itself, in the first input itself, the user enters done. The first input will be the done. Then what happens? Input will be checked with done string. Then what is the count value? Count is 0, sum is 0, 0 divided by 0 will be 0, average will be 0. Once user has entered done, the program should stop. Means program should not take any input, further input. So for that, what I will do, I will say break. Means stop the while loop, stop the loop. Don't go further. That is what I am saying. Okay. Next, what if the input is not done? If it is a number, just go to else part. Just go to else part. Then what should be done? The count should be incremented, right? Count is equal to count plus 1. Initially count was 0. Once user has entered value 1, 1 will be checked. 1 actually it will be treated as string. It is not a number because input function will take everything as a string. So 1 will be compared with string, 1 will be compared with done, which are not equal. It will go to else part. Then count is equal to count plus 1, count value get incremented. Then sum is equal to sum plus what? Num. Is it correct? Sum is equal to sum plus num. Is it correct? What is there in the num? Num contains string character 1. Sum contains 0. Number plus string. Whether it's a correct syntax? No, it is not correct. Right? So you cannot concatenate number with string. It's a error actually. It's a error actually. So what happens? Your program will terminate. It will not continue further. It's a dynamic error. It's a type error. They cannot add integer with string because even though 1 is a number, but input function has treated 1 as a string, so it will not continue further. So what is the solution? What is the solution for that? Solution is just convert this num into float value. So instead of writing just num, convert this into a float value, that is num. Now whatever 1 you have entered, 1 will be converted to 1.0, some get added. Okay, again go back to while loop, while of true, then num is equal to input. You will enter 2, 2 is equal to done. No, it will come to else part, count becomes 2, sum is equal to 1 plus 2, it is 3, go back, and you are entering 3, right, 3 is not equal to done, come back to else part, the count becomes 3, sum is equal to 3 plus 3, 6, go back, 4 you have entered, whether 4 is equal to done, no, come to else part, count is equal to 3 plus 1, 4, sum is equal to 6 plus 4, 10, go back, you have entered 5, 5 is entered, 5 is not equal to done, go to else part, count is equal to 4 plus 1, 5, sum is equal to sum plus, that is sum is equal to 10, 10 plus float of 5 means 5, 10 plus 5, 15, come back, take the input which is done. Now when the user enters done is equal to done, so print count value, what is the count value? 5, sum value 15, average is equal to 15 divided by 5, 3.0 will be printed, then break comes out of the loop, it won't accept any other inputs. So that is how this program works. So as I said, the problem definition, your program should repeatedly ask user to enter what? User to enter numbers repeatedly till he enters done. It keep on accepting the input till user enters lowercase done, done. If the user enters done, the program should stop by displaying sum value, count value, average value. It's correct. It's correct. Now my question, what if user has entered some other strings? Instead of entering done, by mistakenly user has entered don, let us say don capital E, or he has entered capital done, or he has entered MIT, or he has entered hi, or he has entered Anand, means some unrecognized or unwanted data, invalid inputs. If the user has entered invalid inputs, what you should do? What you should do? So what happens in such situation? Just observe. Let us say user has entered capital letter done. It will enter the number, but what user has entered? He has entered, instead of entering lowercase, he has entered DONE, which is not equal. So it will go to else part. Then count will automatically incremented. Then sum is equal to sum plus float of done, capital DONE. I mean to say, this if condition will work only when user has entered a character DONE in lowercase, and nowhere we are checking whether user has entered some invalid information. If the user enters correct value, correct number, it will accept. Okay. If the user has entered invalid data, it cannot be a string. Let us say a user has entered 3 point plus 4 dot, like invalid information. Let us say 4 plus 4.5. This cannot be a number. You cannot write plus 4.5. Plus symbol is not needed. Correct? Or else if the user entered 5 plus 4 plus 5, this will be treated as a whole string. Such wrong data will leads to a dynamic error, type error, because again if you try to convert this done into float, it is a type error, because else step should work only with numbers. Here you are checking whether it is a done string. It will go to else part and it will check, it will convert the number into string, but unfortunately user has entered invalid data. How to handle it? how to handle invalid or dynamic errors, dynamic runtime errors. So it is through try and except block. Just try to put try block, except block. So where do we get error? Where do we get a dynamic error? Here we don't get any error. If you enter anything, it will accept. Here also we don't get, it will check only whether the done is equal to done. So here in the float, correct, while converting number to float or string to float, we will get error, we will catch an error. If the user has entered correct number, then it will automatically convert it to float, then it will add it with some value. But what if user has entered some invalid data, then it leads to a dynamic error. The dynamic error should be handled carefully. For that you need to put this particular block in a try block. And one more situation, if you write try block over here, I will assume that I will write else part, you have an else part, then indentation, you have try block. So if you write count is equal to count plus 1, assume that user has entered 1, 2, 3, they are string actually, then finally has entered MIT. 1, accept 1, which is not equal to done, it will go to else part, try block, count becomes 1. Then convert it into 1 is converted into float, then add it, go back, 2 same as it is, 3 as it is. When it is MIT is not equal to done, it will come to try else block and try block, count becomes 4, means fourth input, means count is increased. But what about sum? So MIT of float, it's a dynamic error, you cannot convert MIT into float value, that's a type error. So what happens, automatically your control will go to except block. Let us say, let me write after this program, there is a continuation, except, so you print a message, print wrong input. I am saying wrong input. Assume that this entire line is single statement, except print wrong input. When you say wrong input, so this particular line will not get executed, so it will go back to a while loop again. Once the try block got some error, it will go to what? While statement. But what about count value? Initially, let us say 1, 2, 3, MIT, count value 1, count value 2, count value 3, here count value is 4. If you enter count value 4, it becomes count value 5. If you have entered 5 as an input, count value 6. The final, even we have successfully handled the error, even though user enters MIT, the user enters MIT is not equal to done, it will go to try block, count incremented, sum is equal to MIT, float of MIT, it's a error, directly program will not stop, will not get any error, it will go to except block, it will print a wrong input, it will come back, it will say enter a number. But what about count value? Count value got increased because we have written count is equal to count plus before the sum calculation. Means first I need to write the code which may generate error. For that I need to write what? Count statement below this, count is equal to count plus 1. Now what happens when the user enters MIT, float of MIT, immediately you will get an error, dynamic error. It will not execute count statement. As I said, try block is skipped. It will go to except wrong input. Again come back, take next input 4, 5. Let us say fifth input also I will enter, this will not be counted. Fifth input I will enter Anand. If I say Anand is not equal to done, go to else part, try block, Anand, try to convert Anand to float, it's a error, go to except statement, print wrong input, your output will be wrong input, come back, enter a number. Then if the user enters lowercase done, done, then print count, sum, average, break comes out of the loop. So this is an example program how we can solve a problem with handling a dynamic errors. So I am here handling first example I have discussed just a normal program without handling dynamic errors, but now we are able to handle a dynamic error if the user enters any wrong data, unwanted information. Let us say if I instead of entering numbers, if I type MIT Mysore, or if I type Anand Kumar HN, or if I say computer science, or if I say Python application development using Python, any big string if I enter, it will not generate any error. It will not stop the process, or it will not stop the execution. It will handle carefully. It will take you to accept module or accept block, print a statement, and come back, take next input. Okay, so this is the explanation for this program. Try to solve this program in your system. Next we have another example which was given in the textbook to solve. You need to generate a sequence. Let us say there is a Fibonacci sequence, or let us say a prime number sequence, prime numbers from 1 to 100 is a sequence. In the same way, there is a sequence called collage sequence. Please understand the problem. This sequence was introduced by person called Luther Collage. He is the mathematician who invented this sequence in the year 1937. This sequence is used for some mathematical purpose. So it has got some logic to generate this sequence. So I will tell you the logic. You need to generate this sequence. This sequence is, you need to take any positive integer, not negative integer, only positive integer. You should take positive integer, and you need to check whether that integer is a positive, or a even or odd. Right? You need to get a positive integer. You need to check whether it's a even or odd. Next step, it is not. That's it. So, or you cannot say only checking even or odd. It is not the problem statement. Next step, once you check even or odd, if it is a even number, you need to divide that number by 2. Means half of that number. Means let us say you have take 5 is a number. 5 is even or odd. Let us say 10. If you take 10 is a even. The next number will be divided by 2. That is 10 divided by 2 will be no fractional part, only decimal part. 10 divided by 2 will be 5. The next number becomes 5. Now you need to look into 5 now, not a 10. 10 was the initial number. Initially you took 10 as a number. Then if it is a even number, let us consider n is 10. Then if it is a even number, you should divide number by 2. Then write the number. Initially it was 10. Next number is 5. Next again compare next number 5. 5 is even or odd. It's an odd number. If it is an odd number, then you should perform 3 times the number plus 1. So what is 5 is a odd number. What is 5 times? 15. 5 3 is a 15 plus 1, which is 16 is the answer. Then again compare 16. 16 is even or odd. It is a even. N divided by 2, which is 8. Then 8 is a even number. It becomes 4. 4 is a even number. It becomes 2. 2 is a even number, which becomes 1. So this is how the sequence works. So this is called as collage sequence. You should stop the sequence once it reaches number 1. Once it reaches 1, you should stop the process. Let us consider 11. 11 is even or odd. it's a odd number. So once it is odd, n into 3, that is 11, 3 is a 33, 33 plus 1, 34. 34 is a even, so you will take 2, divide by 2, it is 17. 17 is a odd, 17 3 is a 17 3 is a 51. 51 plus 1 which is 52. So even number. Even number means you need to divide. If you divide, it becomes 26. 26. Correct. 26, again it's a even number. 26, it is 13. 13 is an odd number, so it is 40. 13 3 is a 39 plus 1 which is 40. Again continuation, 40 divided by 2, it is 20, 20 divided by 2, it is 10, 10 divided by 2, 5, 5 is an odd number. Again we go to this sequence, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. So these are the numbers generated by 11. The sequence cannot be same. Just changing one number, incrementing one number will give you a big number. Correct. So this is called as collage sequence. So can you try this program? Just here the condition is just even or odd function, just even or odd statement. So just condition like if statement. If number is even, do this, else do this. Try to solve. Okay. Now what I will do, I will take a small function, collage function, and I will pass a parameter for that. If parameter is even, I will return back some number divided by 2 value. If a number is a odd, I will multiply 3 times, I will add one value, then I will return back the result. So this is how the logic is. So consider a function, definition, consider a function name called collage, and consider a variable num. Means you are passing a number to this. Then you need to check whether it's a even. How do you check even number? Modulus operator. If number mod 2 is equal to 0. If the number mod 2 is equal to 0, what will happen? So you need to return what? If it is an even number, return n. So here if we perform n divided by 2, which will give you fractional part also in Python. So what is the solution? There is a floor division, n floor division 2, n floor division 2. That is what? If you pass 10, 10 is a even number, 10 floor divided by 2, which is 5. 5 will be returned back. Else, so we no need to check odd number. If it is a even number, obviously if it is not even number, it will come to else part. So else return n star 3 plus 1, n star 3 plus 1. This result will be returned back to the function. Correct. This is what the function. Now function should be called. For that we need to take an input. So to take input, let us write number is equal to. Now you need to convert the number into positive. He said, the problem statement said you need to consider a positive integer. For that you need to take an int of input. Whatever user enters, that should be converted into integer. Again, if the user enters string, it's a dynamic error. So input enter a number. Assume that user has entered a number. Next, what I will do, I will store this entered value in another variable called result. There is a value called res. I will store this value in res. Okay. Next I will write this side. So I will take, because we need to call this collage number repeatedly, right? First we take 10, value 10, then we compare whether even or odd. If it is a even, divide by 2, 5. Again we need to check whether 5 is a even or odd. So for that, repeatedly I am calling that function. For that I will take a while loop. Let us take while of true. I am taking infinite while of true. Next I should what? I should call this collatz function. Collatz function. For that what I will do? I will take result is equal to collatz of res. Collatz of res. Initially res contain a num value, whatever value you have entered. Let us say you have entered 10, 10 will be copied to res and you are passing value 10. So res is passed. So it will come here 10 divided mod 2 is equal to 0. Is it true or false? So it's a true. So return back 10 floor division 2, which is 5. 5 will be returned back and it will be stored to res. Then go back. While of true, infinite loop. Then again collatz of 5 will be passed. It will go, it will execute, it will come back with what? So 10, 5, 16. It will come back with 16. Again you pass 16, you will get 8. Again you pass 8, you will get 4. 4 you will get 2. 2 you will get 1. Once you get 1, you need to stop. Right? You need to stop. So for that what you will do? So once you get back the result, you need to print the result. So let us say print of res. Once I have called value 10, you will get back answer as 5. 5 will be printed. Again go back. So before going back, you need to check whether the result is 1. If the result is 1, stop the process, don't continue. Right? So stop the process. So for that I need to write one more if condition. If res not res is equal to 1, then I will say break the loop, means stop the process. So each time I will compare res value. If the res is 1, then I will break the loop. So otherwise you can write here also, if res not equal to 1, you execute the things. Even that is possible. Just note down this. Each step for beginners, I am telling, I'm like simplifying, I'm elaborating the things. So each time you call collatz function with parameter, you get back the result, you print the result, check whether the result is equal to 1 each time. If the result is 1, then break the loop, means don't execute, don't call collatz function because already you have reached 1. So what happens if you call again? So 1, if you call 1 again, 1 mod 2 is not equal to 0. Come to else part, 1 into 3, 3, 3 plus 1, 4. 1 into 3, 3 is 3, plus 1, 4, 4 again 2, 1. It's an infinite loop. Again you will get 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. It's an infinite loop. So to avoid that, we will stop when res becomes 1. So this is the one way. Otherwise, what you can do, instead of writing true, just you can write if res not equal to 1. If res is not equal to 1, execute the loop. Initially you have 10, next you will get 5. 5 is not equal to 1, so just go to this while loop. 16, 8, 4, 2. When 2 is passed, you will get back the result as 1. When 1 is not equal to 1, which is false, 1 is equal to 1, which is false statement, 1 is not equal to 1. So don't execute while loop, comes out of the while loop. So this is the solution for collatz sequence. This quiz is given. This is just like a assignment, or it's a practice question in the syllabus. So just try to execute this sequence in your home. The same way, you consider any mathematical question, any scientific question, any general questions where you get in the textbook, let us say mathematical, if you have any mathematical friend or any junior or any mathematical problem, you take that problem, try to solve those problem using program. So then your skill will be upgraded. Okay, this is what the solution for collage sequence. Okay, next example I have. In the previous class I discussed about how to get prime, how to check whether the given number is a prime or not. Correct, you are providing one number and you need to check whether the given number is prime or not. You need to print a message, but I am modifying that problem. So now you cannot give only one number, you need to provide a range. Let us say I want to get a range of prime numbers from 1 to 100. So you are providing two values, minimum value, maximum value. Let us say I want to know prime numbers from 50 to 500 or 100 to 1000 or 99 to 999 or 1 to 1000. So like this, you are providing two values, two boundary. Correct. So you need to check what are the available prime numbers in it. Okay, for that I have written a program, just I will explain. So first you need to take two inputs, right? You need to take two inputs. One is value 1, value 2. So I am taking two, just forget about this function part. Function part I am not discussing now. So value 1, you are converting that value into integer. You are converting into integer, int of input of value. Let us say I will enter value as 5. Value as 5. And value 2, let us say I will enter value as 10. Means I want to know what are the available prime numbers from 5 to 10. These are the two inputs I am taking. Next it will, I am taking a for loop because I have a prime function, is prime function. For is prime function, each time I will call is prime function with some parameter. What are the parameter? The numbers between 5 to 10. Means first I will call prime number with parameter as 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I will close the for loop. So each time I pass a parameter, the is prime will tell me whether the number is prime or not. If it is a prime, it will return value 1. If it is not a prime, it will return value 0. Okay. So based on the return value, I will print the value. If the return value is 1, let us say for 5, if the return value is 1, I will print the value. For 6, the return value is 0, I don't print 6. 7, return value is what? 1, I will print the value, otherwise I don't. So here I am taking for I in range. Means these are the I values. For I in range. What is the range? From 5 to 10, right? What is 5 means? 5 means value 1. What is value 2? That is maximum value, will be 11. So 10, you are taking 10, so 10 plus 1, 11, till 11. So and each time you are calling is prime with I value. Initially I is prime will be called with 5. Next will be called with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the returned back result will be stored in RES. Let us say I will pass 5 here initially. 5 will go to num value. Then again I am considering for I in range 1 to num floor division. I forgot to mention this in the previous example. So for loop will consider only integer values. Here if you perform num divided by 2, it becomes float. So you cannot take float value. So I am doing floor division 1 to num divided by 2 means 5 flooring division 2, which is 2, means 1 to 2 it will perform. So not 1, it has to start from 2 to 2. It will perform from 2 to 2, that is 2 to 3 actually, plus 1 means 2 to 3. It will perform from, the range is from 2 to 3, but it will execute only second iteration, that is first iteration is 2 will be considered. Then I, not I, so here you need to perform. So I have made some mistake happens, num mod I. So I have num called 5, 5 should be divided by 2 initially, 5 mod 2, whether it's a 0, no, so it will come to Okay, it will return statement is written outside the for loop. So when num mod 2 is not 0, so again it will go to for loop, num becomes 3, but the range is not given because range is only 2. So it will go to out of the for loop, then it will say return 1. 1 will be returned back, then we will compare if whether the result is equal to 1, then I will print 5. 5 is a prime number, right? 5 is a prime number. Next, what happens? I will pass 6. Now 6 will be passed. 6 divided by 2, it is 3. 3 plus 1, which is 4, means you need to divide 6 by 2, 3. 2 and 3 should divide 6. Let us take for I in range 2 to 3. 6 mod 2, whether is equal to 0? Yes. So return 0. So simply it will return back the result. Return 0. So 0 will be returned back. Then result is equal to 1. No. So it will not execute print statement. A for loop will be changed. Means 6 will not be printed. Now 7. When you pass 7, 7 mod 2, which is 3, again you need to divide 7 by 2 and 3. So 7 mod 2, which is not 0, it will go back to for loop. 7 mod 3, which is not 0, go back to for loop. For loop ends. Return 1, 1 will be returned back, 7 will be printed. The same way 8, when you perform 8, 8 divided by 2, which is 4, means for loop from 2 to 5, the 8 should be divided by 2, 3, 4. But in the first loop itself, it will come out of the for loop or is prime function with return 0. In the same way 9 will be returned back, 10 will be returned back with 0 results. Only 5 and 7 gets printed. So this is how you print a range of prime numbers. Initially I told you about only checking whether the given number is prime or not. Now you can print a range of prime numbers, whatever range you can provide, any big number, any range you can provide with these two values. So you will get a range of prime numbers. So these are the 3 problems I discussed today. These problems can be solved using a Python code. Thank you.